Are your plants struggling to grow well? In this video, I'm going to show you how to foliar feed your vegetable garden so that you get healthier plants and better harvests. By feeding your plants, they in turn will feed you. Welcome to Healthy Fresh Homegrown, the channel for families who want to have a thriving, healthier lifestyle by growing food at home. I'm Marc, a published author of 2 gardening books with over 15 years of experience growing food for my family at home. And I'm here to help you put healthy, fresh, homegrown food on your family's table too. If that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing below. Foliar feeding means feeding your plants through the foliage or leaves. This is especially effective for plants that you mainly eat the leaves from, so things such as lettuce, spinach, and things like chard. Plants can take up nutrients faster through the leaves than through the soil, and it can also help protect your plants from certain diseases and pests. But keep in mind that feeding your soil is still a good thing to do, so having healthy soil is very important, especially for heavy fruiting plants such as tomatoes, eggplants, and squash. And for those plants, I recommend using a granular fertilizer, as I show you how to do in this video here. The granular fertilizer gives them a heavier feeding that they need to set lots of fruit and give you an abundant harvest. So, to foliar feed, you need certain supplies and tools. The first thing is you need a good liquid fertilizer. I like using seaweed, although you can use fish fertilizer as well, so long you're doing that in an outdoor environment because of the smell. Or you can use a compost tea or a worm castings tea as well, so long it's in liquid form. And then you need some way to apply the liquid fertilizer to the leaves of your plants. So one of the easiest ways is just using a watering can and actually watering with a fine rose on the end right over top of your plants. The other option you have is to use a pump sprayer like this one. Keep in mind that if you're using a pump sprayer like this one, make sure it has not been used for any herbicides or any other chemicals that might damage your plants. The other option is a hose end sprayer like this one, where you plug your hose into one end and then you put the liquid in the bottom, and then it'll come out mixed through the front here. And the other way is an actual spray water bottle that you can pick up at a dollar store for just $1 or $2. And this works quite well, especially if you've just got a few plants in containers. This just has water in it right now, but you can add fertilizer to it as well and then spray on your plant's leaves. And when you're measuring your fertilizer, you want to use a medicine cup so that you're measuring the right amount of fertilizer. So before I show you how to mix up the fertilizer and spray it, let me know down in the comments below what challenges you have when it comes to feeding your plants. So to mix up a diluted mixture of the fertilizer, I always follow the instructions on the bottle. So for this type of sprayer, I usually end up using just the one medicine cup. And for the hose end sprayer, I would just fill up a little bit, not too much if you don't have many plants, and then the actual automatic mixing of the water with the fertilizer in the hose end sprayer should mix it up properly. For something like the watering can, I would do 2 medicine cups like I showed in the liquid fertilizer video, which I'll link to up above here. And then for something small like this, I would maybe do about a teaspoon or so. So I'll just show with the pump sprayer, since that's the one I'm going to be using. So we'll measure out 1 cup here. And I had already shook it ahead of time, but remember to shake it, of course, with the cap on. and then pop it in here, just like so. And then what you do is fill this up with water. Now, in terms of the water that you should be using, try to use rainwater if you've got it. That's much better for your plants, and it has less chemicals and minerals in it. If you don't have rainwater like we have right now, because it's pretty well a drought, we haven't had rain in quite a while, then you can use tap water, although I recommend, if you can, to actually use tap water that's been sitting for maybe a day or so. So if you remember that you need to fertilize the day before, just fill your watering can or your hose and sprayer with water, keep it open, let it sit, and then add the fertilizer the next day just before you spray. So then once you're all mixed up, you can just pump her up and then just spray. And you want to evenly coat the leaves as best as you can. And the other trick is to try to coat the underside of the leaves as well, and that will help. And don't worry about any of the fertilizer that drips onto the ground, because that'll just sink into the soil and it'll help the roots as well, just like you normally would do if you were applying it just to the soil. And even though I'm doing this in a raised bed, you can just as well do this in containers. So before I explain when the best time is to foliar feed, I wanted to mention briefly seed to table. This is my membership that is for families who are growing food at home. It allows you to get the in-depth information and support that you need to grow successfully and have a thriving food garden that feeds your family and that fits into your busy lifestyle. Learn more by watching the Seed to Table tour that I've linked to here. So what is the best time to foliar feed? Right now, I'm demonstrating this. It's about 10:30 in the morning, and it's actually getting a little bit too late to do this. So it is better, if you can, to do this first thing in the morning before the sun gets very intense. This way, the spray doesn't dry as quickly, and your plants are able to absorb it better while it's still wet until it dries from the heat of the sun. But you also want to avoid spraying too late in the day. If you spray in the evening and you have a bit of a cooler or colder night, then you may end up with mildew issues and other issues with having the foliage wet all night long. The same applies to general watering. You don't want to water your plant's leaves late into the evening if you've got a cool evening coming up. So as you can see, foliar feeding is quite easy, and it's a great way to keep especially your plants that have lots of leaves that you eat well fed over the course of their growing season. Of course, you need to have the right supplies and the right tools to do it, and I'll leave some links down below in the description for some Amazon products in case you cannot find some things easily locally, or you just prefer to shop online. So if you have any questions about foliar feeding, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll answer it for you. And then also check out these two other videos here that cover granular fertilizer and liquid fertilizer used to fertilize your plants normally through the soil. Thanks for watching. I hope you give foliar feeding a try and have fun feeding your plants so that they in turn can feed you. Thanks for watching. Wishing you all the best. Bye for now.